Hi, it's time to read. The more you read, the more you know, the more you know, the more you grow. Today, our book is King of the Board, and I am reading this in comparison to the story I went and read this morning on Facebook Live, and the title of it was All on Her Own. So, we're going to compare these two books. This is a chapter book, which means it has different parts. So this one has 3 parts, chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3. And it's also a realistic fiction. It's realistic fiction. And what that means is that that it can happen in real life. The title of the book is King of the Board by Diana Noonan. That's the author. And the illustrator, the person that drew the pictures and made the pictures in the book, is Carlos Araujo. And our chapter 1 is Giants in the Park. I hate Saturday mornings. A transition from calm to chaos takes over our household. Everything turns upside down and inside out. Dad, who's a baseball genius, runs around looking for his glove. Mom, who's a superb tennis player, gets ready for her early morning match at breakfast speed. And my brother Adam, and local track and field champion, gets grumpy because he can't remember where he left his running shoes. Then my cousins call to ask if they left their softball gear at our house last weekend, and my grandpa starts honking his horn out front for Adam to hurry up. He drives Adam to the track on his way to the golf course. That's not the worst thing about Saturday mornings, though. The worst thing is when they all ask me if I want to watch their game. Most weeks, I just shake my head and say, thanks, but no thanks. When it's a really special game, I go along to support them. But unless someone in my family is putting on a star performance, I get bored. I also get hot, tired, and sore sitting on those bleachers, listening to everyone shouting and cheering. I can't help it. I'm just not interested in sports. I've tried everything from golf to baseball. I've even tried some unusual sports like underwater hockey. The fact is, nothing interests me enough to want to play, let alone watch someone else. At school, most people think I love sports because all of my family and I don't always correct them. That's because I suspect some of them would treat me with disdain, and the same way they scorn other non-sporty people. They wouldn't want to be around me. Tell you what, Clinton, Mom said one Saturday, the weather forecast looks good. After you've cut the grass at Grand's, why don't you, Dad, and I meet at Braceville Park? I'll pick up some tacos and we can have a picnic together. Great idea, Dad said. We can take a walk and check out the great new recreation area. I hear they've built a putting green. They've put a bunch of outdoor games too. Adam added as he walked to the door. It's amazing! Adam was right. While I waited for my parents to show up, I checked out the new games area. It was huge. There was an outdoor gym with a special section for seniors, a mini golf course, and a 3D game of snakes and ladders for kids. There was also a giant checkerboard with chess pieces the size of kitchen chairs. It was the chess that caught my eye because 2 men were actually standing on the board playing a game. I climbed to the top of the playground slide so I could get a bird's eye view and watch for Mom and Dad at the same time. At first, I just enjoyed watching the men haul the giant chess pieces from one square to another. Then, after I'd been watching for a while, I noticed the pieces seemed to be dancing with one another. Each one did certain steps. Some pieces moved from side to side, and others moved back in a some pieces moved from side to side, and others moved up and down. Some glided forward and back on a diagonal line. It was as if they were puppets and the two players were puppeteers. "There you are," called a voice below me. "We've been looking for you everywhere." I looked at my watch. "Sorry, Mom," I called back. "I meant to watch out for you." It was already 1:30. I'd been completely focused on the game for more than 20 minutes without even realizing it. "The tacos are still warm," said Dad. "Come down and eat." I climbed down from the slide. "Can we eat later? Can we eat here?" I asked. There was no way I wanted to miss the end of the chess game. Chapter 2, Battle of the Kings. Over the week that followed our visit to the park, I spent hours on the internet learning about chess. Looking back, I can't say what made me do it. I guess I'm good at math, and in a way, chess is mathematical. But it was more than that. It was about the pieces and the way they danced. I even started making up little tunes in my head to go with their moves. The more I learned, the longer the tunes got and the more complicated the moves became. I went to the library and borrowed books on chess. I even tried talking to my dad about it, but he couldn't help much. He said that board games weren't his thing. I admit it. I was becoming chess obsessed. Dad said chess didn't involve enough physical activity for him. He said even snakes and ladders made him twitchy. Grandpa was the same. When I asked if he liked chess, he said, "Give me a set of golf clubs any day." In the end, I couldn't find anyone who was interested in chess or in coming with me to the park to watch the giant pieces in action. I'm not supposed to hang out in the park on my own, so it wasn't until the next Saturday that I saw the pieces dance again. Mom agreed to meet me at the park after her tennis match. This time, two women were playing. Instead of climbing to the top of the slide, I sat on the park bench next to Mom and watched from there. The women were really nice. When they saw me studying their moves, they started explaining some of the rules. Actually, I already knew most of them from my research, but I didn't tell them that. After a while, I began suggesting one or two moves to them. Mom touched my arm gently as if to say I was disrupting them, but the women didn't seem to mind at all. In fact, they started asking what I thought. Sometimes they looked at each other and raised their eyebrows. I wasn't sure if they thought my ideas were really silly or if they were surprised that I'd come up with a good move. I guess they could tell I was interested because when the game was finished, they came over to us. They asked if I belonged to a chess club. When I told them I'd never played before, they said that perhaps it was time I did. "You have a very talented son," they said. "Our chess club meets Tuesday evenings at Bay Hall. Clinton would be very welcome to come along. There are some other children his age there, so he wouldn't feel out of place." My heart started thumping so hard I thought it might leap out of my chest. "Why, thank you," said Mom. "That's a very kind invitation." "Can I go? Can I?" I asked Mom once the women were out of earshot. I don't see why not, she replied, if that's what you want. That night, I had a very strange dream. In the dream, I was a chess piece, a knight, but it wasn't a dance I was taking part in. It was a battle. Chapter 3, My Kind of Sport. My first night at chess club didn't come fast enough, and from then on I lived for Tuesday nights. There was more to learn about the game than I ever thought possible. The coolest thing was that there were so many people my age there. We even had our own room. I played all through the summer and fall, and I made some great new friends. On the first Tuesday of every month, we had a chess lesson. One of the seniors came in and taught us about strategy. We discussed the moves we might make when chess pieces were in particular positions. On the other Tuesdays, we played each other. Players are ranked on what's called a grade ladder. Of course, I started at the bottom, but soon I was creeping my way toward the top. When winter arrived, we switched from Tuesday evening meetings to Saturday mornings. Suddenly, I was a part of the crazy get out of the house routine, too. Where's my notebook? Where's my jacket? I shouted over Adam and Dad, who were both trying to find their sports gear. It felt fun to be a part of the craziness, but I still had the feeling that my family didn't really understand why I wanted to play chess rather than football. Toward the end of winter, my club announced that it was holding an annual tournament. There was going to be a trophy for the winner of the junior section. I didn't think there was any prospect of my family coming along. Well, no one except Mom and Dad, that is. Chess can be kind of slow, and unless you love it, you might end up falling asleep. It was a real surprise when not just Mom and Dad showed up to support me. Adam, Grandpa, my uncle and aunt, and even a few cousins came too. They played. The play took all morning and half the afternoon, but my whole family was still there at the end. Some of my cousins were playing computer games by the stage, and I didn't blame them. I knew how boring watching sports could be. I wasn't sure who would get the trophy because I didn't know how many games other people had won. To be honest, I didn't care. Winning would be great, but it was the games I enjoyed more than anything. When the results were announced, I learned I hadn't won the trophy. However, I had won an award for most promising player. My family looked stunned, and then they went wild. It was almost embarrassing the way they cheered so loudly. They acted as though they would they acted as they would if they were at a baseball game. My certificate was superb, gold embossed and with a ribbon and raised sealed and everything. The best prize of all, however, arrived when I got home. Dad came up to my room while I was hanging my certificate. He handed me a box. I always dreamed of buying you your first good quality sports gear, maybe even your first baseball glove. He paused while I opened the box. So I got you this, he said. Inside was a beautifully carved wooden chess set. It was almost like the antique set in the glass cabinet at Bay Hall. Dad gave me a giant bear hug. I'm so proud of you, he said. Looks like you found your sport. Wow, I said. Dad was seeing me from a whole new perspective, and it was helping me see myself in a new way, too. I was so happy. I was speechless. I just stood there grinning from ear to ear. Don't forget to compare to my Facebook Live. The more you read, the more you know, the more you know, the more you grow.